Loners Stay Together, an original mystery by Robert Napier. I lost track. But hey, I almost die. As the hour approached, I was compiling any number of excuses not to go to this party. I'm busy, I'm sick, I'm working, I hate people, I have no social skills, I feel fat in this weirdly shaped dress, and so on. But I can't back out now. I need more information as I am dangerously close to never solving shit. I'm smart, but I can't do this alone. I need to talk to Rami again, and Dr. Rithvik. There was no real reason to talk to Ciro again, but, he might know something, probably. The point is, if I have to go to this stupid party to catch the killer, then I'm going to this stupid party. Bing. Roman's PC wakes up. I glanced at the screen. It was an invitation to play chess online. I clicked accept. The board appeared, pixelated and cartoony. The opponent had already led with a pawn. The username was Baron Bones. Nerd. I had a few minutes, so I moved Roman's knight. Pawn, 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 knight, bishop, pawn, just fucking around. How are classes? Says the chat. The usual, I say. Still teaching that class on the role of psychotropics and gastropod neuroplasticity? Well, didn't take long for me to get way out of my depth. Not this semester. Too bad. Like mammals have been getting lit for millions of years. If anything, it's unnatural to not take drugs. The very concept of a drug is government propaganda. Okay, obviously drugs equal bad, but I like Baron's style. I type, they say Viking berserkers were tripping rage balls on henbane from the Nightshade family. I was particularly proud of this little nugget I had learned from TikTok. Talk about a fucked up family. You got good old potatoes and tomatoes on one side, then Nightshade and henbane on the other. This is fine, no problem, let's just keep it light. I don't even know who I'm talking to. Actually, they don't know who they're talking to either. I type, it's like a Brady Bunch made of the Waltons and the Addams family. LOL. What do you think the reunions are like? If they get the references, maybe I can narrow down their age range, nationality, or educational level. Get some idea of who I'm dealing with. After a very brief pause, Bones hits me with this. There are several theories about the berserkers, including ritualistic hysteria and PTSD. It's the ibotenic acid and muscimol, psychoactive neurotoxins that bind to glutamate receptors. Without knowing the Vikings' recipe, the effects could range from hypnosis to hypothermia. I'll be sure to grab some for my next Ren Fair LARP. But seriously, is that what you have been working on? You're getting awfully nosy, whoever you are. It's time for a tactical redirect. Human history is a 20 million year frat party. Ugh, I just made myself sick picturing that. The chat was stagnant for over a minute. Oh, how's the cat, BTW? I look over at Erwish. He looks fine. Fine, I type. Still having nightmares? I freeze. What kind of question is that? I think I should just quit the game, but I don't want, to make Roman look bad. I'm about to fess up and introduce myself when I see Baron Bones is typing. I wait. I thought you were dead. A chill runs down my spine. So cliché to say it like that, but that's exactly what happened. Why do you think that? I said. You haven't played forever, ha ha ha, I need someone to beat, ha ha ha. Bishop. Pawn. Knight. Rook. Knight. Bishop. Pawn. I relax a little until I read the next line. How's your sister? I'm so stupid. I jump up and look for the webcam. I knock clutter around but can't find one. This program is too old for that, maybe? She's fine, I say. How have you been? There was a long silence without any moves. The status sits on typing for over a minute. Nightmares. Bam, 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 fuck! I fling open the door and point in Ciro's face. You pound way too fucking hard. I nearly jumped out of this stupid dress. Ciro steps back serenely. Because you scared me. Not because I knew it was you. Which I did know it was you because you knock like a fucking... Just don't anymore, all right? God. We drive in blessed silence half the distance to Rithvik's mansion before Ciro opens his mouth. There was another murder. I choke a little. What? When? Ciro likes keeping me at a disadvantage. I can tell, and it's annoying. Weeks ago, local drug man, nobody thought about it. But same. Ciro made 3 popping sounds. In chest, like that. You think it was the same person who shot my brother? I think nothing about it, but you should know. I mull this new information over, but there's not much time as we arrive at the gate. Thank you, I said, a little late, but better than never. For letting me know. He nodded. As we come up the private drive, we avoid a gathering crowd at the front. Ciro escorts me to the line and says with convincing sincerity that he must unfortunately leave me here. I'm standing in a semi-coherent queue between some pretty passive-aggressive velvet ropes surrounded by yuppies in nicer outfits. Rich people never know how to form a line. That's a poor person's skill. I watch Ciro pull an earpiece from his coat pocket and disappear between 2 equal-sized ogres. A looming, oversized standee of Rithvik on the cover of a prestigious publication is perched at the main entrance. There's a table with signed copies of his books. Spotlights rake the skies like it's a fucking circus. The walkway is jammed with attendees, mostly older distinguished men and some photographers. This is a flashy event, by Midwest standards. No limos, but some sports cars disgorging desperate and scanty former fair queens and smiling money men. Even a city news team is interviewing people as they file in. The atmosphere is noisy and excited. It's more like a concert than a house party. There is a bandstand outside, playing some mild, upbeat rock covers for a wide demographic. Amid the circus, me, alone, obviously out of place and wondering how I talked myself into this. Security personnel with radios and earpieces roam the halls. I recognize most of them as off-duty cops looking for quick cash. The party buzzes, and frankly, I'm impressed. I have to admit, I didn't expect all this. I head down the hall, wildly overstimulated, looking for clues or whatever, and I have to also admit I'm a double imposter because I have no clue what I'm doing. After passing 6 absurdly well-decorated rooms from the entrance, I finally spot Ramirez. Raimi. She's still in the white hoodie surrounded by strapless sequined designer gowns. Her shoulders are slumped trying to text someone. When she looks up, she smiles lavishly at me and it makes me feel relieved. Like maybe I have a friend. I look behind me because it's probably a mistake. Raimi jogged toward me. I'm glad you could make it. She took my hand. It was a sweet, natural gesture. Hey, I said. This is a big deal. I didn't know that country doctors partied this hard. Raimi sort of winced or smiled. Up on the second-story landing, Dr. Rithvik fidgeted with his cufflinks behind heavy satin curtains. He is eager, but always a little nervous. Security frets over him like they're paid to do, making a show of it. Ciro, he commanded. Ciro emerged from the curtains, leading a large German shepherd. Rithvik was agitated, clinking the ice in his whiskey glass. Ciro! And you couldn't have blamed a bystander for thinking it was the dog's name. I'm here. The monitors in Rithvik's office displayed a matrix of security cameras that he was scanning as he waited. The woman with Raimi. Is that who I think it is? Ciro nodded slowly, forcing the doctor to actually look at him. They exchanged blank faces. Rithvik straightened his tie. She's younger than expected. The music struck a rising Holstein chord. Ciro dipped away as Rithvik sank into a meditative preparation. Deputy Dillon, off-duty in a rented tux, turned to Dr. Rithvik. Ready, sir? The doctor nodded. I'm ready. Rithvik went out onto the landing above the ballroom. Deputy Burr, off-duty in her one good dress, looked across at Dillon. I hate working with these pricks. She was referring to the off-duty city police also working security. It was overkill, but the good doctor liked to proactively redistribute some wealth. "It's fine, Burr," chuckled Dylan. She scoffed. "You know half those assholes are dirty." Dylan popped a mint in his mouth. "So what?" The lights dim. I try to say something to Raimi, but her eyes are intent on the landing. The lights go out, and the music dies, like somebody just cut the power. A spotlight clunks on and awkwardly centers its beam on the curtains. The satin folds open, and Dr. Nathan Rithvik steps out as everyone applauds. He bows in 3 directions and covers his heart. "Welcome, yes, please welcome everyone. How about that band, huh?" "Yes. Ha, ha. Thank you, my friends. So glad you all could celebrate with me on this occasion. Our community has been ravaged by tragedy, but tonight is a night to reflect on our blessings and appreciate the many wondrous opportunities that await us in the very near future. I have a very exciting announcement, but for now, please enjoy yourselves and the music. We are blessed with food and drink. Thank you all for coming. And our thanks to the dedicated law enforcement agencies for helping us organize this little get-together and making sure no one spikes the punch bowl. Although, no. And thanks to so-and-so, politician, rich guy, politician, etc., for being with us today." Nathan cleared his throat, took a sip from his whiskey glass. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are standing on the threshold of a new era." The music subtly rises as colored lights wash the stage. I am very pleased to announce that some of our Scandinavian friends at Huck and Prefab have decided to build their new distribution center right here in blank county. Genuinely surprised applause sweep through the audience. I have no idea who he's talking about, but apparently it's a big deal around here. Rithvik held up his hands to quiet the ovation. "And thanks to the generous support of Cavalier Medical, we will be breaking ground at an all-new industrial complex next year." Rithvik pointed to 2 men in the crowd, and the spotlight hunted them down. "I'd like to thank Mr. Redacted and Mr. Redacted for being with us tonight. Without them?" Rithvik felt a tingle in his fingers. He looked down and saw the German shepherd licking his hand. He scratched its head behind the ears. The music came to a crescendo, anticipating his final words. Rithvik speaks in a whisper. "My friends, come with me into a bright new future." A barrage of lights and music courses through the audience as they applaud. Cameras flashed. I elbowed Raimi. "I'm surprised at all the photographers. People are really into this stuff?" Raimi grunted. "Dr. Rithvik pays them. They're paid to look like paparazzi." I felt like an idiot. "Is he always this dramatic?" She snickered. "You haven't seen anything yet." The security guard at the front door caught sight of a lone figure arriving late. He never saw any headlights, and this man approached on foot. He seemed to grow taller and taller as he neared. The guard spoke in hushed tones over the radio, and soon Deputy Dillon came to his side. "What's up?" The guard gestured toward the approaching man, who came to a stop several feet away from them. It was Mark Shutter. He even dressed up for the occasion, wearing his least ripped black jeans and V-neck t-shirt. He stopped to listen to the muted sounds of music and applause. He grinned at Dylan and offered his invitation. Dylan took the envelope and rotated it. There was a burgundy smudge on the corner. Inside the folded card was a $50 bill. Dylan tucked the card back into the envelope. "He's good," he told the guard as Shutter shouldered past. An airy, optimistic musical motif dangled in the air. I stood beside Raimi and tried to snag a few hors d'oeuvres. Hors d'oeuvres, ease. Hang on. Hors d'oeuvres. Fuck. What's he talking about? Raimi shrugged. I don't care about this stuff. Like I said, she was immature. She didn't understand that most of the evil in the world was agonizingly banal. Of course, I had no idea how much she did know of evil. I watched Dr. Rithvik speak some more. Then he went around with other fancy pants, shaking hands and talking to the crowd. The band kept playing, but softer stuff. That's when I set eyes on Deputy Anna Burr. She was halfway down the stairs with her hand on her cheek, pressing on an earpiece. She was wearing a sleek black dress that was just ever too short for her long-toned legs. Dylan overtook her and made some comment she didn't approve of. She stopped and her eyes met perfectly with mine. She did not seem happy to see me. Even less so to see me with Ramy. She came down a couple steps and I thought she was going to throw me out of the party. But some excitement drew our attention. Dr. Rithvik, in the midst of a photo op, began coughing violently. Several well-meaning but useless people rushed to pat him on the back. He tried to wave them off, but he was visibly shaking as foam appeared at the corner of his mouth. His eyes rolled back and he collapsed. I was suddenly back in that tax office, looking at Kathy Henderdink covered with blood and making those same rasping, rattling noises in her throat. Rithvik begins to convulse as people scatter. Some screamed, others laughed nervously. Was this a joke? What's happening? Should somebody help him? Ramy was a ghost. Oh no. Murmurs, gasps, and sobs shot through the crowd as security closed around him. The mob is rising now, as the horror of what they've seen sinks in. Panic. 2 more people have fainted. Ramy tried to push through, trying to reach her guardian. She was a small, fragile girl, insignificant in the crowd. I shoved some tuxedos hard to cut a path to the doctor. This time I grabbed Ramy's hand and she followed me. She dropped to Nathan's side as he was racked by a violent seizure. She took his hand. He raised his head to peer at her through glassy eyes. He squeezed her hand, then sagged into unconsciousness. I'm standing over Ramy as Burr and Ciro push me out of the way. And it's basically chaos. Everybody has heard how there's a mad killer on the loose. Is he here? Is he targeting rich people? Running and sobbing and puking. Some simply stunned and watching. Ciro is at the body, with the sheriff at his side. The fake paparazzi snapped pictures deliriously, probably instigating more seizures and rumors of gunfire. Ciro gave the sheriff a direct order. Get them out of here. The sheriff was actually relieved not to be in charge. You heard him. It's not a fucking show. He physically pushes the crowd back. The crowd is clearing now, pouring down the carpeted runway, but still obeying the velvet ropes. Shutter moves against the current, coming towards the landing, with an angry, puzzled look on his face. Guy Wallach appeared from one of the absurdly well-decorated rooms. Psst. He stands at an open door, leading below the stairs. He's disguised as a waiter, and it's very likely I snagged some snacks from him without ever knowing who he was. Shooter went to him. Ramy kneeled at Rithvik's side. A few yards from her, I examined the scene. There wasn't much I could do. Ramy held his hand. Nathan, she whispered. EMTs appeared, dropping their kits and working on the doctor. They don't even finish taking his vitals. It's clear they need to go now. Feeling awfully useless, I made my way up the stairs to watch from above. That's when I heard scuffling down the hall. I had my handgun in my handbag, but I didn't pull it because of all the cowboys. And likely it was just caterers or more security. I came into Rithvik's leather office. It had been overturned, wrecked. Drawers dumped atop the desk, books tossed on the floor. It would have been noisy, and I doubted it was a coincidence. I drew the revolver. The weight was reassuring in my hands, but somehow I was on my own. There were at least 20 cops here, for fuck's sake. The window was open and the table in front of it had been flipped. Against all my better judgment, training, and experience, I went straight to the window and stuck my fat head out to get blown off. I was just in time to see a silhouette dashing away from the floodlights. There was an ivy-covered lattice within reach. I thought it must have been how the intruder got in and or out. That meant it could probably hold my weight. Of course, the intruder, now extruder, probably wasn't wearing an outlet mall dress. In hindsight, this was a total fuck-up on my part. I'm a big girl and willing to admit that. Now that literally everyone has armchaired me for it. If nothing else, it would have been faster to run down the stairs, get zero burr anybody, and go around the house. But Cassie Loner, ladies and gentlemen. The ground was muddy under the window, so I sank immediately. Shit. The back lawn is an eerie, shadowy space, filled with spiky plants, enormous fronds, a maze of shrubs and stone terraces, including a postmodern jagged metal sculpture depicting fuck if I know what. From the veranda further up the hill, I hear footsteps and voices, muted and receding. A noise behind me. I swing my gun and see that dark figure ducking away. Hey! I chase. Maybe this is my brother's killer. Maybe he knows who is. He's fucked if I catch him. I lose him in the shadows. I stop to listen for movement. Suddenly, Guy Wallach flies out of the darkness with a shovel and swings it at my face. I reel back. He's savvier than expected, and rather than bet on a return swing, he jabs the handle into my ribs. I hit the ground instantly, the wind socked out of me. One hand clutches my separated ribs while the other shields my face from a bullet. But he doesn't fire. He looks aside, and we see a 6'5" frame come out of the maze. I'm 5'4", by the way. I don't know if I said that before. But just so you know, this bastard is more than a foot taller than me. He slaps away my shielding hand and grabs my throat. He easily picks me up, and time slows way down as I realize that the wind knocked out of me isn't coming back. Who did this? Shutter asked, with his college basketball hands around my neck. Who got to Rithvik? I can't breathe. Can't breathe. He knows I can't answer without an air supply. He's getting off on it. I don't know you. Who are you? I scratch at his arms. I'm supposed to press my thumbs into his eye sockets. I know. I've taken plenty of self-defense courses. But his arms are so goddamn long, I can't breathe. I'm on my toes and my high heels drop off. The grass is wet, slippery, can't breathe. Kick him in the nuts. You're probably thinking the same thing. That's what everybody says. Just kick him in the nuts. That'll fix him. But my legs are like gelatin. If I try to kick, I'll fall. I know I will. Who are you? He repeats. I try to think, but it's hard when you can't breathe. Loner, I gurgle. Loner's dead, princess. No more white knights. Fuck. Can't breathe. You. He drags me closer. I could reach his eyes now, but my fingers are deadlocked on his wrists. He's so close that the spit I can't swallow speckles his cheeks with each gasp. You don't have a clue what's going on, do you, little girl? My eyes roll back. He drops me with a snort. Who got Rithvik? I try to breathe between the spasms in my diaphragm. He backhanded me across the cheek, and I don't know. It hurt, but it might have saved my life. It made me mad. And I'd like to say I was playing dead to draw him in. That this was a strategy to lower his guard. Oh, look at the helpless woman on her knees in front of the big, strong man. Oh, just a little closer, that's right. Come here. And then I would sucker punch him and take him down. That would be a neat trick. But it's not a strategy. I'm blacking out. Can't get air fast enough. I'm panicking. My chest is burning, my nose is gushing. My eyes are so watered I can barely keep them open. And my own gun is aimed at me the whole time. He hit me again, I think. Who? He screams like an angry toddler. And you know what? I hit that motherfucker right in the nuts. I don't know how it happened, really. I looked up and his crotch is right above me. I can see his dick is hard from choking me. I actually see the shape of it in his black jeans. And I just rammed my head straight into his crotch. Like a torpedo, bam! We were both pretty surprised. And spare me the jokes, I've heard them. That's using your head, Cass. That's putting your heads together. Should have gave him a heads up. He was a real dickhead, huh? Head-on collision. And my favorite, Cassie knows how to give head. I'm actually really glad everyone found it so amusing. You know, I still can't wear a turtleneck without having a panic attack because I almost died. But cheers, mate, good one. You got me. So I ram my head into his balls. And say whatever, but I'm no white belt. I duck between his legs. because he's like 1,000,000 feet tall and do a schoolboy takedown, rolling him over me onto his back. Of course, he's still clutching his groin and bitch this, bitch that. Wallach can't get a clear shot because I'm tangled in Shutter's freakishly long limbs. We tumble around a bit. I land some elbows to his stomach like I'm Rowdy Roddy Piper, and I hear my gun go off. I think I'm dead, but I'm not. The big bastard kicks me like 10 feet away and starts to run. Wallach has fired a shot in the air. Now he aims at my brains. I see the sprinkler hose beneath him, and I yank it hard. He sees me do it and steps over the hose so that it just whips safely underfoot. And I'm not even upset because at least I tried. Sorry, Roman. I tried. Then this 90-pound fur missile nukes Wallach from the left. His foot is still up, and he's pleased with himself, so he never sees it coming. Reithvik's German Shepherd slams into him, targeting the gun hand, which fires into the dirt about an inch from my body. Wallach falls back and lands right on top of that what-the-fuck Pomo lawn sculpture I mentioned earlier. Schnick. Splat. R.I.P. Instant death, motherfucker. I'm still coughing and wobbling as Shutter retreats into the night. He's gone. Through blurry eyes, I look down and Wallach's blood is pooling in the saturated grass at my bare feet. Fur missile licks my hands, and I can finally breathe. I fall down onto the shepherd's back with my arms around his shoulders, and I sob wretchedly into his tan and black uniform. His name is Krigo, and I heart him forever.
Hello, listener. My name is Robert Napier. I just wanted to say thank you for your support. If you enjoy this content or have suggestions on how to improve on it, please leave a like or comment. It would mean a lot, and I'd really appreciate it. Consider subscribing so you never miss an episode. Thank you.